Hello and welcome everyone to episode 54 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
How's it going? I am, of course, Brandon Bovia, letterer of manga like Dragon Ball Super, Kaiju number 8, and many more. Honestly, just here, hyped to talk about One Piece. This is one of those, this is going to be one of those episodes where, there's just a lot to chew on. There's a lot that just got me thinking.
Yeah, it's definitely a thinking set of chapters, which is kind of funny, in how it all comes together. And just those chess pieces, it's just how well Oda can set them up and be like, all right, we're just planting these seeds here and there, and good. It's just, let's line them all up. So it's exciting. I'm so thrilled to be getting further and further this. Just so far, reconfirming my enjoyment of this arc from the first time I watched it. So
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. One other thing I will say, just because I have already been saying it a lot, is that I need to get a little bit looser with my edits for the podcast because they take me a bit of time because I get rid of a lot of ums on my part. You're about to see because I'm kind of skipping those now just so we can I want to tighten up the conversation, but not get rid of the ums because that takes so much longer. Oh my God, it takes so much longer.
Yeah. One Piece at a time is going to be a little more loosey-goosey.
little bit. So good luck, everyone, and me. And you know who else somehow seems to be getting some luck as we get into chapter 251, Overture? Frickin' Wapple. He's selling toys to kids, all these wild creations that he's mixing together. He has Nessie, Tetsuro, Rikiyan, Kabashinigi or whatever. And I love the little detail where he's like trying to sell it for 1 million berries each.
Yeah. He's marked down to 50.
Yeah. And if it's anything akin to yen, that's, what is that? 5 cents? 50 cents?
Yeah, basically 5 cents. I feel like, one, I love just like the look on Wapple's face as he's just like, he thought, but at the same time, like, this probably is the first honest dollar that he's ever, or I guess honest berry that he's ever earned in his life. So, you know what? You tried to rip off the kids, but you ended up doing a good thing, which is what all of these cover stories are about in the first place. So
villains doing accidental good things sometimes.
Yes. you could just tell he hates it, and I love it.
Yeah, it looks like just this scrubby homeless man selling toys to kids. So
yeah,
there you go. I
think what's even I don't know if this is an intentional detail necessarily, but like with the 1 million berries, it's like they're marked out at different places. So I wonder if it's like him bringing down the price more and more rather than straight down from 1 million to 50.
I think it probably is the case where it's like,
so
1 million,
he got haggled,
100,000, 10,000. Help me, please.
Yeah. And then just putting a piece of tape on it, 50.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Into the chapter itself, it is just like off and running. Because we go right to the Shandians, who we find out that they have mantra too, or at least Isa does, because she's able to tell that both Ganfor and one of the Kami's vassals have been down for the count.
Yeah,
which we still don't have the answer. What the hell is mantra?
Yeah, but yeah, God, because it's like, I mean, she wasn't even there for that. In terms of relative distance, but she can just tell, which is like really interesting.
Yeah, it's like sensing power levels almost. It's like how is she doing this?
It is kind of like that in Dragon Ball, where they're just like, like, oh, I can sense their power. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to be there, which is convenient.
Yeah, but hey, this is good news in Wiper's eyes, because it's like our prayers have been answered, because now it's time to destroy the Kami's vassals, because with one down we can actually go take them out, and they're all feeling kind of pumped about that. But we do get this sweet little bonding moment between Isa and Rocky, or Reiki, I think it is, where she's going to swipe some more land for her, some more Vars.
Yeah. It's kind of cute because you see Isa just like, no way, you can't take it, it's mine. But it's kind of cute, yeah, that she's just like, all right, she's in on it.
Yeah, it's fun. That's all we get for now on that. Having it all set to go, and we're back to the guys, Sanji, Luffy, and Usopp. And Usopp tells him, "Hey, I found the boat. Let's go. It's about to leave the forest." And I like how they're in the process of still beating up on Satori.
Yeah. Right. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, Sanji's just got like his foot on him.
Yeah, he has his foot on him, and we see a later panel. He has a bunch of extra bumps. they've just been kicking him this entire time.
Good.
Yeah, there's like, hey, we got to run. Let's catch up to it. Usopp says, "Grab onto my body," and he uses the Usopp Wa and latches on, and they proceed to bang off every single tree on the way there.
Yep, just. I like on the next page they get onto the boat and Luffy's just like, it would have been easier if I stretched. Like, yeah. I don't know why you had to do it the complicated way.
Usopp wanted to be important, but there you go.
He really did. He wanted. Yeah, I can relate to that. Just wanted to use the grappling hook. It's cool.
The other great thing about this is that we, like I said, we see Satori, and Satori's done. Like, they beat the hell out of him because a day passes, as far as we know. He hasn't shown up. They don't care about retrieving him, as we see later in the later chapters. He's just like, nah, leave him.
Is he down and out for the whole arc?
He might be down and out for the whole arc, because that's the way people are talking about it. This dude has a major concussion, is just left in the middle of the forest. So, oh well.
We're not going to worry about him for now.
Yeah, we'll just leave. Because we still got that tease from Nami. It's like, no, there's no way from before.
But we still got to wait a little longer for it.
Yeah, this whole page just to tease you of like, oh, we're finally going to see what she's talking about.
That was the end of last chapter, right? And so we're just going from that to this, and it's just like, well, did we need that?
I know. I mean, it's
I guess
a
it's
nice
just building it up.
Pool, yeah, nice build up. Like, what could it be? It's planting those seeds as Oda likes to do. But yeah, we still got to wait as we meet our final vassal. Can't remember his name. What is it? Spiderhead guy. I don't know.
Oh, geez. Oh,
We'll hear it later, but
yeah. We'll see it later. Man, I remember they say his name later on in our set of 5 chapters, but it's just like I was like, oh yeah, that guy, and then no, in one ear out the other.
And as soon as I saw him, like, I was like, oh yeah, these other 3 look way more threatening than Satori. And we get this guy is like almost there, but he has this weird gimmick where he gets so frustrated that he clenches his mouth shut and he tries to talk and he doesn't actually talk. Oh my God, this guy. We go to the other one. It's like, do you hear, talking to his big old dog? It's like, do you hear the lamentations at the fallen holly? So many challenges, yet the outcome is always the same. He's just like, everything is turned out even because they know the gorillas are coming. That's the other thing. It's like, they're just all set to fight.
Yeah.
And
it really feels like this is Oda just kind of laying everything out.
Yeah. It's building up that tension for sure. And good thing, too, because we just get right into it where the Shandians are on the loose. They are heading out in a massive group to try to take out both the vassals and the kami.
I can't get enough of like the panels where he's just like where he's showing them kind of gliding across the clouds and through the air and stuff. It looks awesome all of the time. I really love that panel where it kind of looks like I think they're all in shadow, and I think what's happening is like they're riding across, like I think that flash in the middle is supposed to be the sun.
I think.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like it's like the camera being placed like from under. I don't know. It's really imaginative.
They just seem so athletic the way they twirl and zoom.
Exactly. And they're all so smooth.
Yeah, every panel is dynamic. It's different to the crowd shots during the fight in Alabasta. These guys are just. Yeah. It's not typical warfare. Well, this is typical warfare for them, but it's just like that different sense that adds to it, I think.
Yeah, the sense of speed is just, it's so immersive.
Yep. And it's time to get some more names. We got Brahm, Kamakiri, Genbo, who's French apparently, and of course Rocky. And we've met Kamakiri before, but and Rocky of course. But I like the sense. It's like, all right, everybody come back alive now. Break, and we'll by the soul of Kalgara, we'll bring the light back to Shandora, back the light of Shandora.
And that last little zinger where they're like, fires the cannon and just like the speech ends with the explosion. It's such a cool set piece.
They want this place back, but they are prepared to blast the hell out of it for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wild. But yeah, they're just like, all right, the Shandians are here. It's about to go down. And then we return to Chopper, who's alive, and he doesn't know, and Gonfor's alive, and Pierre is back up, and like, how'd they all survive all this?
How did this happen?
And then we get the Joe. I'm like, there's no way that Southbird came and saved them. Like, there's no way that Southbird was willing to save them. It got me very suspicious in terms of that.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way it's that one. It's like, he's back.
He saw the error of his ways. Like, no, I honestly respect you. He's like, nah. Although it does show that I was wrong about the masked idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I said the mask would be how it was done, but nope, not the case. So, oh well. But yes, we finally do get back to Nami and Zoro and Robin, and they reach the thing that Nami wanted to confirm herself, and they're not showing it. They're just like, what's going on? It's like, no, this can't be it. This is the fragment. That's like, how can it be the same thing? And that's when Nami says, like, well, it was built on the edge of a cliff, and that was no natural cliff. It was, the island was ripped apart. And sure enough, they find the other half of Cricket's house. The big reveal is that this upper yard is actually Jaya.
Yeah. That is when all of my brain cells start rubbing together. You start piecing it together. You're like, oh, like what was, again, it's one of my favorite things about One Piece is those moments where you're like, aha, that's kind of a dumb gag, and then it comes back in such a cool way.
That's my immediate thought. It's like, I thought that was only a joke. I had experienced it before. I knew that upper yard was Jaya. I remembered that.
Yeah.
But I forgot about the reason they found out about it is because the half house. That is so freaking clever, because Oda's established a tone where things are definitely silly at times, but then those silly things come back and they matter. It's wild. Like, you don't question them.
I adore it.
Yeah. What a cool reveal.
So I remembered this throughout the whole time, that there was the other half was in Jaya. I didn't remember that it was here, though, or that this is when the reveal happened. So it's kind of the way in which we learn more and more about why this is here and how it happened, and just sort of the hows and whys of this whole place in the upper yard is really, really great. I can't wait to dive into it a little more.
Yeah. And we get one more set of panels where we do get confirmed it was Southbirds who helped Chopper, but they're huge. Like, they're way bigger.
Yeah, they are dwarfing the Mary.
Like, my God. We see that, they're still traveling the path to get to rescue them at the sacrifice site. But yeah, the Southbirds also confirmed that, yes, this was part of Jaya. The El Dorado was Jaya, and it didn't sink. It was blasted into the sky.
I love that. It didn't go down. It went up.
That's so clever. But it also makes Cricket's diving heartbreaking. They're finding stuff, but it's stuff that fell.
He's been breaking his body the whole time.
That's a shame. But we do get an SBS, mostly talking about stuff that you mentioned before regarding shoujo, how it refers to orangutan and all that. So, that's nice for the people who don't speak Japanese to kind of get that idea.
I didn't know Masira was also another old word for monkeys in Japanese. Though,
I didn't know that. Did not know that one. So that's pretty cool. Well, let's go ahead and get to chapter 252, Junction. And Wapple is doing all right for himself. He's able to actually open a toy store.
Opening.
I love how, again, he is utterly depressed while doing this, but he has his apron. He's looking a little bit better, but he just looks so tired.
It serves you right.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, it's like that suffering from success meme. There's just, he hates it.
I think what it is at this point is he's lovably miserable.
Yes. This is a character who I enjoy to see miserable.
Yeah. Also, it's amazing that they still keep having trash under this bridge. They can make all these toys.
Yeah.
We get back into it, and Nami is immediately happy. It's like, oh my God, we found El Dorado. Yes, this is my reward. Thank you, Kami, for allowing me to find this place so we can make all kinds of money and find all kinds of treasure. And I love how they point out, I was like, hey, weren't you afraid of the islands, Kami? He's like, Kami, who cares about them? I was like, but you just said thank you, Kami.
Yeah, Zoro, half the time, I don't think she knows what she's saying. You know what? That's quite possibly true.
The amazing thing about this is how this entire chapter is how there's this massive battle going on between the Shandians and the vassals all throughout the island. It's
kind of weirdly like background flavor. Like, I mean, it's like takes place throughout most of the chapter, but it is kind of just like, this is a thing that we're checking in on every now and again.
Yeah. It disrupts even the challenge because they come to this big place that's apparently supposed to be another challenge for them. And it has all these skulls on sticks and whatnot, which does confirm, because I didn't notice this at first. I reading the 251, they were next supposed to fight the guy with the dog.
Oh,
because he was hanging out in a place with these skulls on sticks.
Right? Yeah. Oh, they didn't even point that out, and
they just like, there's supposed to be a challenge here, but you don't. Yeah, this.
Yeah, they're too busy fighting a war.
Yeah, exactly. But they do, instead of coming across the vassal, they do run into Wiper, and Wiper goes above them, twirls around, and decides like, I'm just going to kill you too, and fires his bazooka at Luffy. Okay.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he has the Gum Gum Balloon to send him back, and we get Wiper saying a paramecia user, and...
That's interesting that he knows.
Have we heard that before? Have we heard paramecia used before?
I don't remember.
I don't either. I know we've heard the...
we had Zoan.
We've had Zoan. I don't think we've ever had paramecia mentioned.
Okay, yeah. So what... did we have the other one mentioned yet either?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that might be in this arc that we get the breakdown of that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so, and we don't, at this point, as a reader, you don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Right. For all we know, it's like, it's another word for a devil fruit user.
Yeah.
So, we'll just leave it at that. I think that's...
I find it interesting that knowledge has made its way up here.
It is.
That is something that he would know.
That is true, because we haven't seen anybody else use devil fruit.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. Wiper just basically like, all right, well, you're a user, and Luffy's like, hey, don't mess with us, and he's just like, well, you're the ones from the Blue Sea shaking things up. Well, if you value your life, go back. I mean, if you interfere with this island, we'll race you along with a Neru. And Luffy's just like, hey, bring it on, Baldy.
You asking for a fight?
This dude has no idea who he's talking to.
Yeah. Yeah, God, I love it so much because it is just like, they have found themselves in this greater conflict. Luffy doesn't even know or care. He's just like, hey,
Yeah, we have so many sides developing already. We have, of course, Luffy. We have the Shandians, and we have the Neru and his vassals. And technically, there's a fourth, but we'll get to that one in due time. But yeah, the Shandians take off, and they're like, well, we won't worry about this. Let's just keep moving. And they keep going, and we get all these panels of, my God, this dog's eating a man.
Yeah, it's just straight up.
It's awful. And I gotta say, the guy with the dog does seem to be the coolest.
He's got this big old sword.
Yeah, he has the big old sword. He has the dog. I out of coolness factor, I'd go with the dude with the shades, then the guy with the hawk, Shura.
Yeah.
Then the guy that clenches his mouth shut all the time. But he does have that cool panel. He does like that lower one where he grabs the axe and is like, useless.
Yeah, he just straight up grabs it with his hands. It's sort of cool. Well, it's cool to see the vassals in action, but like the fact that they're kind of dominating the poor Shandians.
Oh, they are slaughtering them, it seems like. So, it is. And the funny thing is, it's juxtaposed against Luffy and them just calmly going along the Milky Road. It's like, nothing's happened. So,
there's a war happening in the background, but Luffy and the gang, they're just having a great little time.
Yeah, I mean, I have to assume it probably took them through all 4 of the vassals' territories, but they're so busy fighting, it just never happened. So there you go.
I find it interesting that like after seeing I already forgot Ball Guy's name. He got taken out, and then the Shandians like, oh, okay, the obviously weakest one is taken out, so we will strike while the iron is hot. And it's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, we stand a chance, and I mean, we end this with Wiper shooting Mouth Guy in the face with a big explosion.
It's just point blank bazooka.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if we know it didn't work. So there's we find out later in this set of chapters that didn't work. So not so good. But, anyway, our trio of Robin, Nami, and Zora return, being like, Chopper, are you okay? The mask is missing. So what's going on here? And Robin with her joke, maybe he was torn limb from limb.
Oh, again with her dark humor.
Oh, yes. But poor Chopper's like, no, all good. I'm fine. Just crying
He's
like
just in
crazy.
tears.
Poor guy. And hey, at the same time, they made it. Sanji passed his love challenge and found their way back to him. I'm honestly shocked how quickly the Straw Hats reunited.
Reunited relatively quickly.
Yeah, really. And I love this moment between Usopp and Chopper. And Chopper's like, I'm so sorry. I tried to stop him. I know how much you care about you care about the ship. And all Usopp asks is, did you take care of your wounds? Yeah. Well, burning spear is serious business. I'm just glad you didn't get burned to a crisp. Mask can always be replaced, but we can't replace you. And that just like, aw, that's so adorable.
Like the big brother vibes, I think, really comes through mostly through the jokes, but this interaction is just genuinely adorable.
It is. It shows that bond that the two of them have really built up. Because, again, I can't help but think of the boys back in Syrup Village, and just that's how Usopp treated them. That's why they looked
really
up to
similar.
Him. Yeah, it's good stuff. I really enjoy it. But hey, Chopper has the Sky Knight stabilized. He's resting in bed. They have a lot of things they want to ask him, but they're like, well, we'll have to just fix up the ship tomorrow. So, but we can fight better if they attack us in the woods. So let's go set up camp over there.
And that is music to Luffy's ears.
Oh yeah, it's like, yay, camping. Let's all do it. And that's when they start sharing all their information. The island is actually El Dorado that the Monkey Forest was looking for. I like the panel where they're all just like, hey, let's get treasure. And it is so odd to have them, the goal now for the Straw Hats be treasure, when that's been the focus of the past three movies.
Yeah, because I mean, it is... This is the most pirating that they've ever done. They're like, oh, we can finally get treasure.
Yeah, we can find treasure that doesn't involve looting and pillaging. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And two things before we end off the chapter. One, I like how they're roasting a sky shark. They just beat up a sky shark to eat. That's fun. And two, I like how Robin's just enjoying herself. She's like genuinely having fun.
I love seeing a smile on her face.
Yeah, it's a good time. For our SBS, though, something I didn't even realize. The bracelet on Nami's wrist.
Yeah, who notices this stuff?
Like they pointed out, it's like, man, it must be a really big thing to have if she has it even in the bath, which is a good point because she does not have the compass on her in that scene.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So more important than that. And he's like, oh, is it something she shares with Nojiko? It's like, no, close. She has it from Nojiko. So she has her adoptive mother, adoptive father, and adoptive sister all part of her at all times. And that's good stuff.
Yeah. I had no idea that the bracelet was from Nojiko. Like that just completely passed me by.
Same. But that's a good moment. That's a fun.
Yeah.
Those are the moments I really like about SBS.
Yeah, I'm glad that the Japanese readers are here to point out the things that I would have just glossed over.
Right. I mean, they have to read and reread constantly to notice that sort of stuff. Because I mean, I feel like we're going into pretty more detail than most do when they read a chapter of these things. So
yeah, and you notice how every time we read 5 chapters, the previous 5 chapters just go straight out of my short-term memory.
Exactly.
I could not imagine.
I've been doing my best to keep it all in mind. So there we go. Yeah, with chapter 253, Vars, we have Wapple's business booming, like an ocean of kids wanting these toys. And yeah, I like how and it's reversed, but she's like, Nessie is left and Rikayan is sold out and Tetsuro is sold out. Like it's
suffering
Wapple
from success.
Yeah, he's good on him. He's started a nice small business, I guess. But we get back into it, and they're still fighting. We're camping out with the Straw Hats, and the Shandians are still fighting the vassals. But Kamakiri's down. Wiper's like, no, we just need one last push. And
that's optimistic.
Yeah, they've been fighting for hours, and he's got against 3 guys, and they still have not succeeded. So, yeah, and apparently somehow the vassals will have an even bigger advantage come nightfall. So they actually do retreat, the Shandians. So It's like, all right, let's get out of here. And then we get a notification. Well, Shade's guy with the dog is named Alm. And that's going to be a hard name to remember, honestly. And apparently Anero is calling them. So, very interesting there. But more time for more camping with the group. And I love how this is just like them preparing for the trip.
And they're all just hanging out. Like, we've been getting just like the end of last chapter and this scene. It's just like so much good Straw Hats hanging out content. Like, I love seeing them just goof off.
It's fun. They're camping out. Sanji's preparing food and water for the morrow when they're all going to make a move for it. Chopper's being useful because he has walnuts and aloe and bananas and garlic. Zoro being less so because he has a rat and a frog. I love how Sanji doesn't even skip a beat. He's like, chop them up and throw in this too. It's like, and Nami's like, hold up. Some of those were weird ingredients.
It's a fun detail. I guess that Nami doesn't like garlic. And Sanji's like, I totally forgot. No garlic, right? It's just like, wait, not the other ones.
Yeah, the rat and the frog. And Robin found some salt and it's all good. And we even get Nami in this sort of like, she looks like she's studying. I like this sort of like glasses on, hair tied back. It's
right, because it's for what she's about to explain later.
Yeah, she's prepping a map. We haven't seen her use those map skills in a while, so it's cool to get it ready to go.
Everybody's kind of playing their role.
Yeah. Zoro's even helping out on the cooking with his sword. They have this giant pot for some hot rock stew, which honestly sounds really good.
It does.
I had a hot rock steak once. There was a place that had it where they have a hot rock, they have a slab of steak on it, and you just cut the steak and then put it on the hot rock and it'll cook it right there because it holds the heat for so long, and they have just a layer of salt that it gets on there. Oh, it's really good.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So I'm just imagining this, and it was like that for this. I'm like, oh man, that is good.
I bet Sky Shark tastes pretty good.
Oh yeah. Now it's time for the meeting, and I'm surprised she doesn't get upset at them because everybody else is like talking over things about food, and I was expecting her to go off on them, but she doesn't.
I'm glad this is one of those like exposition segments or kind of bringing it together, all the information. There's not that many like kind of gags of everybody playing dumb. We're just kind of getting
really.
Everybody getting right down to it.
Is on the same level at this point, and they're just like, okay, the only explanation is the island came up here because of the knock-up stream. That's the only way we can do it. And
makes sense.
And Robin says, well, there's apparently a difference between sea clouds and iron clouds. So something about the environment rapidly sped up the growth of the fauna and flora, which would explain why all the remains of Jaya got swallowed up. And then, of course, Chopper points out, I was like, oh, right, the Southbirds were huge too. So yeah. So
it is kind of like, this is Jaya, but big.
Yeah. And they're like, why did the Southbirds save you? Well, they mentioned everyone calling the Sky Knight Kami. So I love Luffy.
It's kind of cool that even the animals are like, oh yeah, Kami.
Yeah. And Luffy's just like, oh, so we just need to beat up that old man? It's like, in the background, you can see Pierre be like, no, you don't.
I didn't even notice Pierre turning around like, hey.
It's like, what? No. Don't you dare. It's like, no. Think back to Nolan's log about El Dorado. He said it was full of gold, but he also mentioned gold ingots shaped like a bell in Southbird. So all these clues are kind of adding up. But there's also the nonsensical last thing he wrote, as Robin points out. I saw gold in the skull's right eye. And thanks to Nami and her maps, she rescaled the map of Jaya with that Robin picked up and paired it with the map of Skypiea. And it turns out Jaya's original shape was a skull.
That's I love the way that this lines up, and it's using Nami's map skills in just like the perfect way.
Yeah, it's all there. It was all planned out, like that Jaya map and like the whole bay that was in there. So it's like, oh, that's odd. And then just man, it's just so cool. And they realize like, oh, so this temple that's on the map has to be the right eye of the skull. So this is where the treasure is. So yeah, we just need to go there and we can get all kinds of treasure.
Yes.
Again, it's so weird for them to be on a treasure hunt in the manga.
Yeah. And God, and thank God we have actual like time for it and not just like, oh, it's a 50-minute movie.
Ah, yes, this treasure we've heard about, this El Dorado, we've just happened to arrive right here so we can go on this journey to get it.
It really is like using all of the details that have been revealed to the reader thus far. Like all of the clues are there, everything makes sense, and it all just seeing it come together is really satisfying.
There's also another aspect to this. They don't care about the war.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're not here for that.
Yeah, and Nehru might be oppressing the people, and they might be outlaws because of this, but they don't care. They're just
I feel like that helps it from feeling just kind of like another Alabasta.
Yeah.
Even though it is basically like, oh, they're in a setting and kind of plopped into a war. And I think I forgot if I had said this on the podcast or not, but it kind of helps Conus from just kind of being another Vivi, with the fact that she's kind of not here for a lot of it, and it's not about helping her as much as like they have their own goal this time.
As far as they know, Conus is safe, so they don't need to worry about her. So it's whatever.
They are pirates out for themselves,
right? It's a nice change of pace, and you could totally see how Conus could become the next Vivi. So
yeah,
it works out. They have this whole debate about it having like Robin saying like, oh, we should put out any unnecessary fires so the enemy doesn't know about our location. And meanwhile, everybody else, Luffy and Usopp are like, she doesn't know any better. And in the meantime, Sanji and Zoro build up a huge bonfire.
It's like, yep, all right, we got the stuff.
Yep, we're all set.
It's sort of fun. Like all of, when it comes to camping, all of the boys just have one brain cell.
Pretty much. And it's like, it'll be all right. Besides, giant beasts are afraid of fire. And all of a sudden, we see all these eyes behind them. And you're like, oh, boy, what's this all going to be about? And then you get the page turn. And they're dancing with wolves.
Yes.
They're literally dancing with wolves where just everybody's like, Nami's laughing. Usopp has the drum out. They're running around the fire with all these wolves.
It's just one of those like, all right, hey, it's party time. They're all goofing off and being rewarded for it, and it's really, really fun. And I have to be the person to point this out. But the spread here with everybody dancing is, I can't say how, but it's foreshadowing.
You told me this before we recorded. And when you said that, and you're like, you weren't sure if you should bring it up or not. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea how it could even possibly be foreshadowing.
Again,
just something involving the wolves, I have to assume, but I have no idea what involving the wolves what might be foreshadowing in this, other than like maybe they have some sort of animal husbandry skill that just comes in handy. I have no idea.
Well, yeah.
But the fact that it's...
this is a seed that gets paid off. It got paid off last year, about 6 months ago as of this recording, which is just one of those like, man, what the...
That is unbelievable.
Big I absolutely adore it. And there's a whole bunch of other things in this arc that I can't talk about that is just kind of like, Oda is just playing the long game.
Really? I mean, the thing is, he sets you up for it too, because we mentioned the building, how that was silly, and all of a sudden this silly scene is apparently even plot important.
Yeah, it's like, well, the building, that only took like 20 chapters to come back, and then this is like, well, keep that in your back pocket for approximately 20 years.
That's insane. Oh my god. Oh, but during the party, Gonfor comes out, and he just apologizes for being a burden. He's like, oh no, if it wasn't for you, the ship would be gone and Chopper would be in trouble, so it's all good. And they're like, hey, come dance with us. It's like, no, he needs to rest.
Yeah, I was like, oh, aren't you his doctor, as Zoro says?
Yeah. And Sanji checks up, is like, yep, Conus and her father were fine, so we're all good there.
Yeah, think not worry about
and
them.
Gonfor sort of fills in some gaps. He's like, okay, this place was once a place called Jaya. That makes sense. But this is sacred ground to us because, you take the land for granted, but this here in the sky should not exist. Things can grow on the island clouds, but they can't be on island clouds, but they can't be born there. So they call this stuff Vars, and it represents their hopes, which is, again, nice bit of culture in that.
There is a sort of a translation thing I want to bring up here that I'd forgotten about until right now. Well, it's actually good that I waited until the explanation to bring it up, because so the term Vars in Japanese is vasu, and so like I think the manga translation might have missed it here, or at least like when they made the term they didn't have all the context, because the asu part I think is supposed to be earth. And so I think the Funimation dub and like the subs of the anime translation, I think they call it Verth for that reason.
That makes
sort
sense.
of like the etymology kind of got lost a little bit because they just looked at the Vasu and they sort of picked a spelling and didn't know if it had any significance. And I don't know if there's it's more of an interpretation thing. Like there's no, but I think Vars kind of, you're like, okay, yeah, it's earth, it's dirt, like that. There's a connection there,
right? Once you get the explanation, it's just like it's just what they call it. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those,
but there is some extra meaning to it.
Exactly. Yeah. But Japanese is just one of those languages where like you could just unless you have like direct access to the writer's brain at all time, like you're gonna have to make like a guess, and sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you'll.
Yeah. Well, the chapter is almost done. We just have one final set of pages with the Shandians who are rendezvousing, and we learn that Kamakiri was wounded trying to protect Rocky, and it's all because she was trying to gather up some Vars for Isa. And Wiper is like, distractions will cost us victories. So, and he goes to throw it away, and Kamakiri instead grabs it and it's like, no.
I like that he's owning up to it.
Yeah, it's like, I can still fight. If we're gonna conquer it, it's now is the time. So we've made some inroads, but let's attack them tomorrow once more. So if we defeat Aneru, a mere bag full of Vars will be insignificant. Let us return Shandia to the state it was 400 years ago.
You really you get the vibe that these guys are desperate. It really feels like a guerrilla force where they're just like, they have the numbers, but they are outmatched. Yeah,
they want it so badly. And we'll be getting some history on that soon enough. A lot of this is set up, and it's very good setup. It's like we're just drawing lines in the sand, and let's go for it. And speaking of that, let's get to chapter 254, Albade, which I don't know what that refers to. I can't actually remember.
Me neither, actually.
Okay.
I forgot to look that up.
Appropriately enough, the Straw Hats are on a battleground in this spread. So
this one's really memorable. I love Robin riding like this pig thing.
She must always be cool. Anyway, everybody's passed out. The bonfire's burned down. Zoro's in his typical sleeping position. Everybody's asleep. Luffy's cuddled up next to a wolf, which is just wonderful. And Usopp has to go to the bathroom. But in the middle of the night, he sees a figure working through the fog, seemingly working on the Mary. And you just have this black panel of it smiling as it does the clang, and that just freaks Usopp out.
Yeah, the faces.
It's a ghost or whatever.
Of course it would be Usopp to encounter this apparently ghost or whatever happened here.
It's very odd, but Zoro finds him, is like, what the heck's he doing? He said he was going to take a leak and he's sleeping? Whatever. And well, that's an interesting thing that's happening right there. But
I hope he didn't get knocked out where he peed.
Oh, that'd be gross. That'd be gross. Oh gosh. But yeah, we finally learned the name of this final guy, Gedatsu.
I'm never going to remember it.
No. Gedatsu, and Shura. Those are our three remaining vassals.
When I got to this page, I was like, oh yeah, there was a One Piece character named Gedatsu. Like, the name rang a bell in my head, and I hadn't put two and two together, and I'm just, it's already going to be gone in like a page. I'm telling you.
Why does the name sound familiar, like sticking out in your mind? I don't
like, it wasn't like the association I don't know. It unlocked a deep memory of going like, oh yeah, Gadatsu was a name that showed up in One Piece for no reason. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot that it was this character.
I'm going to call him our Hachi for this group. He's less lovable,
Yeah.
but he has that quirk. He has that especially that shocked face, the same shocked face as Hachi. So yeah, but they make it to the Kami's temple on the upper yard, and the gates are opened, and I guess they're all set to fight and show off each other, and they're all so insistent that they're the ones that could handle it all.
Yeah, of course.
And we see who is who. The Sky Breeder Alm is the Iron Challenge. The Sky Boss Gadatsu is the Swamp Challenge. There it is. And he's, again, looking kind of cool. It's like almost like he's doing a rap pose with his cross. Yeah. He's like, you're not doing it right. You have to have your elbows out. So he's screwing up crossing his arms, which, boy, this guy's a goofball.
It's sort of an odd gag.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool pose. Don't diss him.
No, it looks fine up until they pointed out that it's like, oh, that's not what you intended to do.
Yes.
And then we get to meet the commander of the Skypiea Heavenly Warriors, Yama. And what a wide
Yama
head.
Yama is Japanese for mountain, which...
That fits. Based on this design.
It explains his general body shape.
Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, where is... they're like, all right, we're here. Where's Aneru? What's going on? And he just yells out, gotcha. And he just tears through the three of them, does a bunch of backflips as they tumble to the ground, which doubly impressive when these guys can predict how their moves are going to, what their moves are going to be. So yeah.
This entrance is great.
And then he just lands on his pillows and just chilling.
Yep. Speaking of rappers, like a rap pose.
Yep. It's time. We finally saw the design of Kami Aneru. And
yes.
Yeah, as one of the big key things, Oda designed him after Eminem.
yeah. You could see it. It's so great.
Once you hear that, it's like, oh, this guy is totally Eminem.
You see it. Eder is one of my favorite, like, at this point, I don't think it would be a spoiler to call him a villain, but one of my favorite, like, major villain designs in the series.
Yeah. I actually wonder if him and the vassals were all designed after musicians, because I pointed out that Satori looked like Elton John with the face.
Yeah.
Then we have Eminem with Aneru, but then I look at Gadatsu's design and his crazy hair, and he looks like Coolio. Just looking at the hair, looking at those album covers, I think Gadatsu is based off of him, which just leaves who's Shura and Alm based off of. Like, Shura seems so classically pilot designed that I'm not sure.
You're right. If there's
but
sort of
Alm with the sunglasses, I can totally see him being some sort of rapper or musician or something like that.
Oh my god. This is going to be a great SBS in 50 chapters.
Oh, totally. Other odd thing about Aneru as we're here, everybody up here has wings. Even the Shandians, as wolves, and that's an interesting can of worms in itself, as we'll get to their explanation. Aneru doesn't. He just has those drums, I'm going to say they are, stitched into his back, which, oh god.
The manga Sharingan, as it were.
Yeah. That's interesting that he does not have wings.
I don't know if we ever get an explanation for that. We probably do. Like, that's such an obvious detail that I feel like we should get an explanation on it, but I could not tell you why that is right now.
Yeah, I
do not remember.
No idea. Either way, we get Aneru kind of being chill, honestly. More chill than I thought he'd be.
He's not tripping about any of this stuff.
No, he's like, you 3 years need some serious training. You're pathetic. You just don't want to end up Satori. But, I was bored. So take a seat. And, you three aren't really taking our Blue Sea guests very seriously because they're after the gold. And it's like, how did they find out about it? It's like, well, they came from where they came from. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, it makes sense.
And he does feel like a Kami because he has this omniscient sight that he knows what's coming. He's like, tomorrow they will begin their search. Meanwhile, the Shandians will try to take advantage of this to launch another attack. And that is why, as of tomorrow, I'm opening up all of Upper Yard to you three. You are free to use any challenge at any location. No rules, no limits. And I
love how he doesn't even acknowledge Satori.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's like, I don't think we see Satori whatsoever. Yeah, Satori's done for. He's whatever.
Yep.
But it seems like he's not just about establishing or keeping rule in this way here, because he has his own plans. Something called Maxim is almost complete, and when it is, the island won't matter, and he'll be able to set out on a journey to a place of his dreams. What the heck is that about?
Yeah, we have a motive. He seems to have a motivation all on his own now.
Yeah, it's more than just, hey, I took power and I want to keep power. He has his own goal that he wants to go for.
His eyes are set on something else.
Yeah. But, we get a setting of what the danger is going to be like tomorrow. But in that morning, Usopp discovers that the Mary has been repaired.
Yeah. So that was not, it wasn't a dream.
Yeah. Somebody actually was working on it, but the work's pretty shoddy, as they point out. Like, the mast has a lot of those metal bars on it, has a lot of metal sidings on it. The curious thing is, whoever repaired it knew that the wings weren't supposed to be there. They got it back to how it originally looked. And that's the mystery. It's like, how is that working?
More mysteries.
I don't know. Usopp just says, like, I wish you could talk, Mary, so you could so you could tell me who did this. And that's all we're left with for now.
It's convenient, that's for sure.
Yeah. But so that works out for them. But here's our plan. So we're going to have two teams. The search team will follow a direct route to the gold, and just try to look out for the enemies and bring back the gold. Meanwhile, the other group, which this search team does not include Nami because she's scared.
Yes, of course.
That's just how it goes.
This is make everybody else do all the hard work.
Of course. They'll be taking the Mary and getting off the island. So they're going to make a way back through the Milky Road and actually go over and around to the back, the closest they can get to the El Dorado location, so they can get it and then make a beeline for the exit and get the heck out of Skypiea while becoming filthy rich. And our teams, our Explore team is Robin, Luffy, Zoro, and Chopper, while our boat team is Nami, Usopp, and Sanji, which...
and Pierre.
Oh, yeah, and Pierre and Gonfor. So there's our teams.
Yeah, already splitting the crew back up again.
Did not take long, but you know what? In this case, the plan makes sense.
It does make sense. You know what? Yeah, this is the...
They also have their strongest fighters there, so...
Yes.
Other than Sanji for protection.
A little more balanced this time.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's get to chapter 255, The Anaconda and the Search Team, where with Wapple's story, a town scientist searches for the secret of Wapple's toys. Apparently they're amazing, and he's just needs to figure something out. I don't know where this is going, but okay.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
Yep. And there's a reason Robin was brought along, because...
Thank God.
Luffy's saying, hey, west is this way, and he's going east, and meanwhile, Zoro's like, hey, the skull's right eye, and right is this way, so let's go this way. And they're like,
oh my God.
And Robin's just like, we're supposed to be heading south.
Yeah, not even close.
Nope.
Not even one page, and they're already almost getting lost.
Yep, but fortunately we got Robin and Chopper there to keep him in line, and Luffy's already thinking like, I thought the forest was going to be scarier. He's just playing with his stick, and he's just like, really, the whole island's been a letdown. It's like, we didn't even meet.
I feel this is one of those, like, what could possibly go wrong, kind of. Don't put that out into the ether.
Right. Luffy's like, it's not as dangerous as I thought. And Zoro's like, I wanted to meet a vassal.
I really love this. Just Robin, like, are you that eager for danger?
Yep. And then suddenly Snake.
Yep. Just like,
well,
you reap what you sow. I don't know. You asking for trouble.
There's our danger. So there we go. But yeah, they're all getting everything set, cruising along fine, and they're complaining about how slow it is. But there's a reason for that. There's no way for the Mary to move on its own up here, so they're using the Karamarisu to push it. So it's going very, very slow.
It's kind of adorable.
Yeah, it's like I like they're still getting use out of that boat. So that's neat. And they're like, all right, it's time for Gonfor to take his medicine. And it's our chance for even more exposition, where he tells us about the history of the land, where he does...
This is the stuff I'm here for.
Oh, yeah. he does confirm that until 6 years ago, he was the kami.
Yeah, Usopp doesn't believe him. He's like, "Did you hit your head, mister?" And then just the next panel, you have Pierre just biting Usopp bloody.
Yeah, chopping him with his horse form. It's amazing. But yeah, Gonfor states that 400 years ago, until then, Skypiea was a peaceful island in the sky, and once in a while, items from the Blue Sea would ride up the knock-up stream, and the people would cherish these rare items. And we got like pirate flags and shells and teddy bears and guitars and stuff like that. They called those treasured objects Vars, and it honestly should have been impossible with something as huge as the upper yard to make it to the sky. So it was just an utter miracle, and you can just see the sheer size of it rising up through the clouds. So of course, upon seeing this, they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing! We have this huge bit of Vars. We need to have it." However, turns out there were people on that island as well. The people got blasted up there as well, which I didn't even think about. I just assumed all the people got knocked off or died on the way up, but no, they survived.
Oh, imagine just like minding your own business and then being like, "We're up,
we're in the sky all of a sudden." So
yep,
okay, and that's where the Shandians come from. There's the gorillas. They're the guys that originally lived on the ground in Jaya.
I feel there's sort of the source for your Native American theming.
Yeah, these sky people immediately like, yeah, we want this. So they stole their homeland and kicked out the Shandians, which... Whew.
I just straight up, Usopp and Sanji like, "You guys are the bad ones." He's like, yeah.
Yeah. Even after Pierre's like, "No, they're not." And he's like, "No, he's right." And Pierre's like, really? And Nami finally asks, like, "All right, well, where did Aneru come from?" And he's like, "Well, he suddenly appeared with his own army from one of the Sky Islands. He attacked both of my heavenly warriors and the Shandians and took control of the upper yard. And now Gonfor's heavenly warriors are slaves under the command of Aneru, though doesn't know what he uses them for." So, but basically it lays it out. It seems like there's 3 sides. It's actually 4 sides. It's the Sky people under Gonfor, and then Aneru's personal army that actually does want to fight along with all this. So, there's a lot of people fighting over this upper yard.
This conflict is just, I think even now, one of the more complicated ones in terms of the story.
It is, but I love it for that. I love seeing all these different people, all with their different goals.
Yeah, everybody
fighting
kind of
each other
wants
for it.
Something different out of this.
And there's no allyship here. It's just, we want what we want, and we will fight whoever for it. Especially when it comes to the Shandians, they do not care. Which, the Straw Hats will defend themselves. So, yeah, it's interesting to see where that goes.
Right, and I forgot. I love this explanation, like about how Gonfor becomes the Sky Knight, because he's like. His old heavenly warriors who were got turned into slaves, they are escapees basically, and that's how. And the Shandians are just trying to kill him on sight. So the Straw Hats, when they first met the Shandians, they just they're just assumed. So the Sanji's like, "We almost got killed by accident."
Yeah, and he further explains that the people feel immense guilt for everything, and Neru uses that to. Control them, and he truly plays at being God, not just a title of kami. It's like he fully believes it.
I think what I love about this is, like, I don't know, it really sort of solidifies it as like this sort of society has problems, but we're putting it all at the top. Like, Eneru is the center of everything here.
Yeah, he is the key link that things can then fall into place otherwise.
Yeah.
But I do love this last little bit. It was like, And now he's like, well, of all the places El Dorado could have landed. And Gonfor's like,
seriously?
What's El Dorado? Like, what the heck are you talking about?
Oh, right. You don't know.
It's like, I wonder what that's all about. But guess we'll see. In the meantime, we have a giant snake to deal with. And Zora's ready to fight it, but it's kind of big and kind of fast. And turns out it has poison fangs that just melts a tree. So
yeah, God. And if it wasn't dangerous already.
When Zora's like, I think it's time for a retreat, it's time for a retreat. And
yeah, I mean, I feel like they've fought like comically large animals before, but I love that they can even Zoro could admit it's like, yeah, not this time.
no, although Luffy's all about it because he's just happily laughing as he says "scary." He's
Yeah.
just living it all up. He's even baiting the snake to come after him, and like, "Hey, follow me," and they all race away in different directions to try to get away from this snake. And it all turns up that they successfully get away, but they're all separated. Every single one of the search team are all on their own, and
considering how the chapter started,
yep,
this is oh dear.
Robin's like, well, I wonder if they got lost. Maybe I should go ahead and wait for them. So she's just gonna head where she needs to go. Chopper's in a panic because he's separated and is all on his own. Zoro's like, well, they can manage, but I have a
he says, I have the map pretty much memorized.
I go right.
Like, no. No.
And Luffy's like, oh, they're lost, so I'll just go ahead and wait at the ruins. Due south means I go in the warmer direction. That's where
they're
we
idiots.
end. Two of the four idiots. One is a bit of a coward on his own, and the other one is the only competent one.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Robin.
No, definitely not.
Things have gone from bad to worse.
Yeah,
pretty fast actually. We had a plan. The plan is gone.
Yeah, it fell apart in a chapter. That's all it took.
Quite.
But what a wonderful set of chapters. It just so much lore. Finally meeting the villains.
Yeah.
Finally seeing more of these things. And we still don't have everything. We know what the Shandian's about. We know what Gonfor is about. We think we know what Aneru's about, but apparently he even has a goal that we don't know about. So there's more to learn there. And we still don't know what Mantra is. So
yeah, well, there's and the ghost thing that Usopp saw.
Yeah, we got the ghost.
There's so many, and again, like the thing that I can't talk about for like 800 chapters. It's just he's cooking so much right now.
Really, I'm so impressed with like getting the answers, because I think at this next point it's mostly going to be action, because it's the morning and the Shandians are out for blood and the vassals are ready to take on whoever, and they're basically set loose. Like things are going to get wild.
It was kind of like, all right, we're putting everybody into position, and now it's time for all hell to break loose.
It finally feels like that. You like thought that was going to be the case when they were going through all the challenges, but no, it's just sort of to introduce the vassals and get the weakest one out of the way.
I feel like in maybe another manga or another story, we would have to like, oh, you're going to introduce 4 challenges, you're going to have to go through all 4, and you just be like, ugh. But no, they go through one, and then just kind of like everything falls apart after that.
Yeah. And I am so excited. This conflict is a big reason I love Skypiea so much.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it. I'm having a great time with this arc. What can I say?
Yeah, same, absolute same. But with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 251 to 255 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I am, of course, at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. Just kind of business as usual. I don't think I have any upcoming books to promote or anything like that. So, just keep an eye out.
Yeah. Definitely do that. And if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER, to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 255 to 260 of One Piece. Until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
You asked, here I am. You boys are getting slow. You're out of practice. If that pathetic display is any indication, you're all well on your way towards ending up dismal failures like Satori.
What is the meaning of this?
Why, God? Why do you mock us?
Is that the reason you summoned us here? To entertain yourself?
I was bored. Now have a seat.